Hello there, Volker here from MSO-dlx.com, Microsoft Office Deluxe tools. Are you one of the many who spend lots of time working on presentations? And do you get all slides done at once? Or don't you much rather have to take notes, work in progress notes of various kinds? How do you do that? Do you have a good solution? And maybe you're working in a team. So you make notes to yourself and you make notes to your teammates, like this table is still empty because the quarterly reports won't be released for another week. So no one wastes time hunting down the figures as they aren't released yet. And maybe you even have some specialists to whom you can hand over the formatting work once you've finalized the contents. So you need to communicate your requests, your formatting requests, in a way they understand. How do you do that? Do you have a good solution? I didn't know of any, and that's why I've programmed a new add-in called the MarkupGroup for electronic markup. It's not been shown here yet because it's a standalone add-in. It doesn't require the other add-ins. Like the custom design tools are also standalone, or the tombstone tools are standalone. And if you're interested in those, I recommend you watching the other YouTube videos. This video is about the electronic markup solution, the MarkupGroup. I'm going to talk about the possibilities, the functions that Microsoft Office PowerPoint brings, and I'm going to show how that's just not up to the job for a corporate environment, working in teams and so on. I'm talking about the installation, and once we've installed the add-in, I'm going to talk about the functions it provides to you. And then you can head off back to work, or you're invited to watch me doing some work using the MarkupGroup tools as well as other tools from the Microsoft Office Deluxe tools. All right. So now, as for the installation, it's programmed. There could be malware. There are security settings which you should pay attention to so you don't get harmed by any malware. And the recommended settings by Microsoft is that you go into the PowerPoint option, into the Trust Center settings, and you disable all macros except for those that are signed digitally. In order to sign macros digitally, you have to submit proof of your identity for an official certification authority, and that's what they are called, to issue you a code signing request. So that is one precautionary measure, because hackers won't hardly get a code signing certificate and deliver their malware alongside with their identity, right? So they may work with stolen certificates, but they won't hardly get their own code signing certificates. At this point, you don't know of the quality of the coding, but you know if the digital signature is valid, that the content has not been tampered with, and where it's originated from. And if you've set the security settings to this and you want to use the add-in, you have to switch to the add-ins, to the PowerPoint add-ins. And now let me get the path to the add-in. I'm going to add a new add-in. Here we go. And I'm presented with a security notice. So there's a potential security concern. However, the signature is valid for this file. And it's signed by me. And if you dig deeper, you can find out where I live and hunt me down in case you find malware in my programming. I'll be happy to issue you an affidavit that my software does not contain any malware. A normal user would now proceed, trust all from publisher. I'm going the other way. I'm going to enable the macros only, because else, before I record the next video, I would have to reset my certificate store, and that's just extra work. That's why I'm not clicking on Trust All from Publisher, but simply enable the macros. Now we already see we have a markup group. If you want to use it, you can do so, but every so often you will be presented with a request for registration. So it's a sort of an egg screen. And if you want to get rid of this, you request a registration, right? So let's try to trigger a, all right, here we have a registration offer. And now I'm confirming, yeah, let's get a registration key for the user, for me, for the PC, for an Active Directory group or whatever, usually for the user. And now you're going to send this request string in an email, and shortly thereafter you'll get a license string like one I already have here. Control C, and now in order to register the add-in, you need to perform an Alt click. So I'll keep the Alt key pressed. I'm clicking here and I'm pasting the license string here. And now congratulations on registering. It's registered to me until the November 24. All right, we're ready to rumble with the markup group. So now we have these functions available, but let's quickly talk about the rationale why the comment function, the review function of PowerPoint is just insufficient. So let's say I want to draw the attention to some detail, right? Now I have a comment and I have an anchor of the comment, and the attention I want to draw to this arrowhead here. And if you don't see it well, let me zoom in. And you wonder, well, what arrowhead? Oh, this one below here. Well, let me zoom out. Watch where the anchor is pointing at now. So if you want to use the comments for this kind of notes, the anchor just doesn't help you very much. Also, you don't have categories of comments. So like everyone has to read everything to see whether it's relevant to them. And if you want to get a quick overview of all the comments, how do you do that? You have to step through, step by step, each one. In Word, at least, you can print out all comments, but not so in PowerPoint, right? So these were all kinds of things that led me to do my own programming in the markup group. And now let's delete the comment. Let's forget all about it. And let's talk about the markup group. We have three categories of notes. Notes to myself, notes to my teammates, and that's all speaking of contents, right? And notes to some presentation specialists who do the formatting work for me. These are distinct shapes. They can't be abused for contents. And if everyone is using those, everyone sees at a glance whether it's relevant to them or not. And because you can quickly insert them, you don't waste time doing some custom formatting, like, all right, someone doesn't have this add-in and he is creating some note with instructions. Well, maybe he spends more time to make it a bit more salient, and everyone who's looking at it is like wondering, what is it? Is it a note to me? Is it a note to the author? Or maybe it belongs to the contents? So you have to do some guesswork. That's distracting, it's inefficient. And that's all you can streamline by using the markup group. And if someone is inserting shapes like this, you can quickly reformat them to one of the 3 category shapes of the markup group by shift clicking. Let's say it's instructions to the team. I'm keeping the shift key pressed, I'm clicking on Teams, and it's immediately converted into a team note. Everyone who is looking at it knows, okay, it's concerning me, or, well, I don't have to bother. And not only that, I can now also search for this note, or I may include it in a listing. If you're using those shapes, you can quickly get an overview what needs to be done in the presentation by listing all of them. And then you are asked what categories you want to include. Let's say you want to include all, and what shall be the scope of your search. Let's say the entire file. And now it's collecting a list of all the shapes contained. You can estimate how long it may take to fill in the gaps. You may assign it to someone, and you may set a deadline or report the status. That's all not possible with the review function. And then also, if you step through, you will find yourself oftentimes starting all over rather than where you want. You can't determine the search scope, right? And if you have to give the speech several times, then you may not get it all perfect before your first lecture, but you don't want to lose the notes for later to brush up on your current version of your presentation. So you need a way to quickly hide or unhide. So it's out of the way when you give your lecture, and when you're back from your lecture or from your presentation, you can unhide and keep improving your presentation. All right, so now you've got an overview. There is a standalone add-in, the markup group. You know how to install it and where its benefits are over the functions in PowerPoint. If you're interested in it, you send an email to me at service@MSO-dlx.com, and you're on your way. And for those who are curious and have more time, then continue watching this video as I'm going to process some slides using more than the tools in the markup group. All right, so now let's say installation is finished. We don't need those slides anymore. And as for the rest, this slide we're going to process. This one too. Yep. That's already out. And this one is going to take too much time, so we're not going to process it. we're going to do this work, and that again is taking too long. And now I'm selecting the red bar, Control C. It's a bit faster. We are not processing this slide, this one either not, and not this one. This one we're gonna do. And these are already from different presentations on their way out. All right. So, and now I can Control click and select them all, either to hide or to put into a custom screenshot or to just delete. And now, before we proceed, let's make a backup copy. It's been saved with date and time prepended. And let's do the processing. Okay, here that should be shift click a note to the presentations, folks, but let's be more systematic. Let's get started from the beginning. Say I'm a presentations specialist and I want to process the entire presentation. And here we go. Yeah, I'm going to process this. So let me process now. As for setting the spell check language, PowerPoint doesn't have a good solution, right? So this text box is set to German, I see. And because PowerPoint doesn't have a good solution, I've programmed one here. And let's take English US and let's set the entire presentation to English US. Okay, so we are finished with this one and let's move on. What's up next? Yeah, this we can skip. And yeah, so here we've got to process this one. That's not flush. And in order to have a flush edge, we need to have a margin of the same color, left and right. So once to the right. So I'm hitting F4. Do we have a shape here? Okay. And also once to the left. Hitting F4 to redo. So that should have been taken care of. Yeah, it's flush now. Replace headshot. All right, that's a new headshot. That's the old one. And I guess I'm going to use this palette for replacement, setting it to the center point. Let's get the same size as the last selected shape. And now when I alt click, it's swapping the positions and deleting the old shape that I don't need any longer. One more thing to do, reorder CEO, CFO and CTO. Well, wait a minute, Beavis Butthead? Donald Duck? I guess someone made a mistake before, so let's first correct this one. And now for swapping the order, that's basically the structure of a tombstone. So I'm going to use the tombstone tool. I want to have 3 columns, 1 rows. Let's reset to the defaults and apply. And all right, that's it. CFO, CEO, CFO, CTO, Butthead, Duck, Simpson. That's all right. However, let's press Alt F9. It's not really fitting well. So I'm going to reuse the tombstone tools because that allows me in real time to adjust the width. Now with the Shift key for small increments, and this slide is done perfect. Let's make a backup copy again. So if PowerPoint crashes, that's what we've saved. Okay, these are the shapes of concern to me, and insert a break. Yep, what Microsoft offers, and then the gap to what's bridged by the Deluxe tools. And I'm taking this function here, and now we have a optical gap showing Microsoft Office distinct from Deluxe. The legend to be placed better, and I'm going to do it quick and dirty. Maybe there is gonna be another round of editing, and so I'm not spending much time here. In order to make it more salient, I would have to do some resizing here, and it's taking too long. I'm skipping that for now. Okay, what's next? Oh, yeah, my fault. I was saying that I want to process the entire presentation. A hidden markup shape, okay. Let's make it visible. Oh, that's obsolete from earlier, so we're going to delete it. And yeah, this is where we're going to continue. These charts shall have the same color, shall follow the colors. So I'm selecting those charts and this one last, because now I can, come on, show it to me, shift click to copy the colors from the chart selected last. Okay, so a shift click, and here we go. That's not bad. However, what I have noticed is that this is not really looking very professional, and yeah, that's just something I can't tolerate. We have to fix that. And it's just taking a few minutes, so it's quickly done. Let's get a bit more space that's available, so we have more space for what really matters, which are the charts. And okay, the icons now have to be realigned. That's what we've done. The touching the edge, which I don't like very much, so we will decrease slightly to the middle. I guess we can leave it like that. And now, as for the charts, this is the area that needs be filled by the chart. So I'm taking it for reference, and now I'm resizing the chart and I'm centering it. And now that the chart is filling this area, I need to take care of the plot area. I'm maximizing the plot area. Here I have to tug it in a bit. And what about here at the bottom? Oh, that's just due to the zoom factor that this tick wasn't shown. It's only shown at certain percentage of the zoom. All right, so now this chart, oh, before that, I guess I forgot to evenly distribute the columns, so I have to adjust the size one more time. And now this chart can be taken for reference again for these charts. So I'm going to select it last, and I'm shift clicking on the pickup elements, and no reference chart has been set, and the last selected will be set for reference. And I can quickly format the other charts. I'm using the defaults here, and that's looking good, except for the placement. So I'm picking up this area now, selecting the chart, centering it, and going to repeat it for the remaining 2 columns. Of course, I could do it manually, but manually I hardly get the precision as when using these tools. And actually using these tools, it doesn't take much longer than pushing the charts manually, right? Okay, looking cool. On to the next slide. Oh, 22, 23. Of course, we want to have the same column width. And now let's record the column width of this table using a control click, setting the table as reference, which then allows me on the next page to perform a shift click to apply the column width of the reference table. And for the rest, I don't really care. That can be aligned later. That's yet to come anyways, right? Okay, let's close the palette. We don't need any longer. And see, yeah, the data labels shall be aligned better, and I'm going to use the nudge palette. We want to align data labels and the data labels of the, I guess it's the total series. Yes, it is. So now let's align them at the same height, and now we can do some fine tuning, and we are done. Good. Next off. Oh, color triangles differently. The triangles, and then we have circles. You know what? I'm thinking the other way around. I'm taking the circle and I'm going to recolor the circles. That makes more sense to me. And in order to select the circles, I can take the shape filter. I can open from here, or I can use the Blitz Start. And it opens at my mouse pointer. And I'm selecting all ovals on the slide. Let's see what we get. 10 shapes selected. These seem to be all the production sites, and now I can quickly assign a different color. Gray on gray doesn't make a lot of sense, so let's use the gold. Shan't we? And now let's group that eventually. So if someone who doesn't have this shape filter, if they want to recolor, they can quickly select the group and then recolor this way in case they desire a different color. And we are done. Let's double check. Let's list all presentation specialist nodes in this file. And okay. On slide 11, no, on slide 1, there is one left. Yeah, slide 1, that's from my instruction, so that's fine. We're done with the work. I hope you liked it. And if you're interested in those tools, you send me an email to service@MSO-dlx.com. Microsoft Office Deluxe tools. All right, I'm coming up with more stuff. So long, euer Volker from MSO-dlx.com.